What's up, guys? I'm sure, as you can probably tell by the title of this video, this is a little bit more of a serious video than we normally make, but we wanted to share just a little life update with you guys and let you know how we're doing after a pretty scary experience we had this week.
So I can't remember exactly what day it is, but the title of this video, you know that our town got hit by a tornado. Actually, 2 tornadoes. I mean, it was kind of crazy. If you've heard anything on the news, you've probably seen there's like this big surge of storms that came through like Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Missouri, and I'm sure we're forgetting some other places, like bits and pieces, but like we had some insane storms come hit our area and there were tons. I think I saw 170 confirmed tornadoes in all of those states.
Yeah.
In like 3 days, which is so crazy. And where we live, exactly where we live, there were 5 tornadoes stacked on top of each other all at once.
Yeah. And we'll insert a picture right here of the map.
Yeah, we'll put a picture like on the thing. Definitely one of the scariest moments of our life. So we live in Arkansas, if you guys don't know that. We moved here. It's been really awesome living here. Julia's got some family here.
We moved here 2 years ago, and this is our 3rd or 4th time being in like a big storm like that.
Yeah, like this is like Tornado Alley. So I grew up in Iowa. We've always had tornadoes. Like we lived in Tornado Alley, and you know, I've had to go in the basement multiple times. I've had to, you know, take cover. Now, we lived in a town with a lake, so a lot of the times if a tornado reached the lake, it would dissipate over the lake. It wouldn't cause a lot of damage unless it started and your house was before it got to the lake. And we never really had a super destructive tornado in our town.
Yeah.
Like houses were never missing. There was never a ton of damage. And so I've been through this. Now Julia and her mom was actually with us when this happened. They've never been through this ever. Yeah. They're from California. I mean, you guys, you know, you had earthquakes, right?
Yeah, but you don't prepare for those because they just, I mean, you can prepare, but like you don't know when they're coming. Yeah. You don't get warnings or anything like that. And
you know, I know the power of weather. I've seen towns in Iowa go completely desolate, like from thriving to like not a single house standing.
Yeah.
Like there's been several EF5 tornadoes that have gone through in Iowa and just completely wiped towns off of the map. And like, it's scary. So like I take these things seriously. Well, anyways, I don't know what day it was. Let me see what day it was. Last Friday, we had the news that there was gonna be bad weather moving through. We didn't know how bad, but we knew to prepare. So the scariest part is this weather was supposed to come through during the middle of the night.
It always does.
Yes, and so
seems like
big storm systems moving through. We hear about some tornadoes here and there, but really not a ton. We didn't hear about a ton of tornadoes happening, so we weren't super concerned.
Well, but we were taking this seriously because we actually got, like, our area got hit last year in around Memorial Day, and some towns only like 40 miles from us got completely destroyed. Yeah. So we knew that this was something to take seriously, and we had taken cover last year. Actually, we didn't take cover we were asleep. Like, we didn't know.
Well, that's the scariest part is this is happening in the middle of the night. Like, last time we didn't know about it. We just slept through it, and we're lucky. Well, we didn't. So I woke up as soon as I heard the winds, but like, we were lucky it didn't hit our area last year.
It hit where it did again this year. But
And so last year there was a tornado that hit the area that we were in. We're not going to say where just because we don't really want people to know where we live. But last year, the tornado path crossed like this, downward, okay? This year, the tornado path crossed like this,
and they
upward,
overlapped.
so it looks like this on the map.
Yeah.
So this center point got hit 2 years in a row. Yep. And I'm gonna show a picture right here of what those tornado paths looked like. And so the tornado path that you're seeing that is 2025, that's the one that hit last Friday. Yeah. And so maybe you can talk a little bit about the precautions, but around 8 o'clock rolls around, I'm like, we really need to be watching this storm. And so you were on the phone with your mom.
Yeah, I was talking to my mom because, well, and I had literally said that day, and this is what's so crazy. I was like, there's just no way that like we would be the ones in the tornado. Like there's
you don't
so
think
many
you're gonna
houses.
get hit,
you never think it's gonna be you. I feel like with any tragedy, you don't think it could happen to you until it does. And so we were talking about it. My mom was over and my dad was out of town, so my mom was gonna be by herself. So we're like, okay, well maybe you can come over here. We'll just play it by ear. Like maybe we'll go over there. Yeah. We don't have a single interior room in our house that is completely shut off from the outside. So my mom, however, she does. So she has like a few bathrooms and hallways and things that would be better to take cover in than our house. And we knew that the storms could potentially come our way. So
well, it was projected to hit us, not your mom. Like it It was supposed to hit us.
Which they came through near our house, but they weren't like on the ground. I'm assuming that's why I didn't get damage here.
Well, so what happened was it kind of shifted direction. So it was supposed to come through a little more south than it did, and it ended up forming and going more south.
Well,
so we live south of where Laura, Julia's mom, lives.
Yeah, and so we're watching the storm tracker, and the hard part about like our local news station is it's the like entirety of Northeast Arkansas. So they're kind of going off everything at one time. So the guy, I mean, I do not envy their job at all. They did such an incredible job. You know, they tell people, hey, you need to take cover. Hey, this town in 45 minutes, you need to take cover because it's coming your way. And so they're tracking like 5 active tornadoes within this like 30-minute time period.
And within like 40 miles of each other or 60 miles of each other. I mean, just they're all stacked on top
So our
of each
whole
other.
region, so they're having to be like, okay, you need to take cover now, you need to take, and so I'm watching this, I'm like, oh my goodness. And this is at like 10 o'clock, and we're like, okay, do we need to go take cover? Like, what should we do? And there was this one tornado in particular, or one storm system that they were watching that had a tornado touchdown about 50 something miles from us. And they were like, okay, this is shifting, this is coming straight towards, you know, it's going straight east. And so we're like, okay, well, it's coming towards us, we should go take cover. We're gonna go take cover at my mom's house just because she's more north and we were just due east directly from the storm.
And she's alone. Like her husband, Doug, it's Julia's dad, he wasn't home. So also never being through this, like I mean, I'm really glad we were there. I mean, it would be terrifying to go through that alone.
Yeah, and so we didn't know what we were gonna do. We were like, maybe we'll go to a friend's house, like a basement family member, or we'll just go to her bathroom. And at the time when we left our house, a tornado warning got issued while we were driving for our area. And where she lives, it's a different town and a different county, so she didn't, they're very close together, but they hadn't gotten the tornado warning yet, and they were like, oh, they should be okay.
And I was like, we need to leave like now.
Yeah.
Like if this storm is supposed to hit at 12:30, it was like 11:15. I was like, we need to leave now so we can get there and take cover.
Yeah.
And so we did, and we ended up driving.
And we packed up the baby, we packed up Jax, our dog, and we grabbed just like the essentials we would need for the baby. And you know, it's hard because he's asleep. We go on the schedule, he has to eat, and of course we're leaving right when it's time for him to eat. But he did amazing. Like he wasn't fussy. He literally was sleeping so good, and we were just so blessed with that because could you imagine like going through something like this and then having to take care of a baby who's like screaming and needs you? It just would have been a whole bigger mess than it was.
Well, let's just get straight to the point. We get to her house, the storm shifts direction to exactly where we're at. And we're watching this live newscast, and power's kind of...
We're in the bathroom.
Yes.
Jacob's sitting in the bathtub.
Yeah, we're in the house taking cover just in case. And it wasn't supposed to hit us. It was supposed to hit where we live currently. So, all of a sudden, we're watching the newscast, making sure we're okay. 10 minutes before storm's supposed to pass, he goes, the newscaster goes, Stormcaster, oh, look at this hook forming. I don't like this hook. Basically, that's showing rotation.
Yeah, and again, there's like 6 other tornadoes, so he's bouncing back and forth. I mean, it was just a high stress time. They're like, you need to take cover here, 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 and we're like, what is going on?
Yeah. Well, anyways, I know a little bit more than these guys do, so I told them we need to take cover no matter what. Not, oh, you should be good, don't take cover. That's not what you do.
Well, they didn't say that either.
No, but that's what you guys would probably think.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's not gonna hit us, we're fine. No, like you still take precautions. Like, and so we got in the bathroom, and as he's saying this hook is forming, he basically says, Paragold, you guys need to take cover right now, and then all the power goes out.
Yep.
And at this point...
Well, the tornado sirens had been going off for like 10 minutes.
Yes. At this point, the tornado alarms had been going off because it could hit the area.
Yeah.
Again, they're gonna go off as a precaution, telling you to take cover just in case, right? So, they were going off, power shuts off, and we're like, oh my word, like this thing is coming directly for us. Not even 5 minutes later.
Well, the power shuts off, so now we can't see what's happening on the news. It stops working.
Exactly, yeah. There's no power, no nothing. Like you don't know anything. And where she lives, we don't have service. Our phones don't work. So we don't know, all we know is the storm is coming, obviously because the power went out.
Yep.
Okay, so not even 5 minutes later, all of a sudden you just hear like, and it's just like a train is hitting the house.
Yeah, it was like, if you've ever been in an earthquake before, it was almost identical to that too. It's like, you hear the winds, because it was the wind was obviously blowing before that, but it was just there's nothing like it, and we all instinctively knew right in that moment that we need to duck down, cover our heads, and like I threw myself on top of Judah because I was just like.
Well, you just hear. I mean, you hear all of these things hitting the house and hitting things around you because there's debris flying everywhere.
The house is shaking.
So I'm gonna show a picture of the tornadoes. Tornadoes right here. So there was an EF3 tornado. This is the one that hit us. Okay, and the one on the right is another tornado that was right next to it. And that was a smaller tornado. The bigger one's the one that hit us. Okay, and so yeah, Julia like gets down on the floor, covers Judah with her body. Laura gets on top of her, and then I'm kind of on top of all of them. And for 5 to 10 seconds, loud, like it sounds like a train is going through the house. And then dead silent.
Well, no, there was like a loud crash.
Well, yeah, there's loud, like I was saying, there's loud crashes, there's things flying everywhere, debris, you can hear it all happening. Like you can hear the crashes, the things hitting the house, the things blowing up, like you can hear that for 10 seconds, max. Like it was so quick.
It felt like 45 years though.
It was so quick. Like, and then it was just dead silent. Like you could hear a pin drop in the room.
It was crazy.
And we still stayed in just in case for about 20 minutes. And then all of a sudden we hear sirens and ambulance, fire truck, police personnel all start pulling into our neighborhood. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, well, it must be past. So I go out and I open the front door, and this is a picture of the house. Almost half of their roof is missing.
Yeah.
From this tornado.
Not my parents, they crossed the street.
No, and I'm just like, that tornado literally just went through exactly where we were.
Yeah.
Like, we were in the dead center of that tornado. And we were praying. We were like, Jesus protect us. Jesus, please keep us safe. Like, we were just declaring that he would make the storm move.
Both my mom and Jacob were praying out loud, and I literally was just like, I don't even know. I was like in a state of shock. Like nothing was going through my head. Like honestly, like I just was sitting there and I was like, what is happening?
And it is literally a miracle that the house that we were in did not get hit harder. I'm gonna show you some pictures of a neighborhood about 2, maybe 1 mile down the street, not even.
It was like, in the path. Like
it is right behind our neighborhood. Look at the pictures of these houses. They're just like almost completely gone. Yeah. Like all of the tops are ripped off. Like you can just see the destruction. And the only thing that was wrong with Laura's house, the house we were staying in, was her gate on a big wooden gate fence was broken and her garage door got bent and busted. That is it.
Yeah.
And the house directly across from us, not even 20 to 30 feet away, the roof was ripped off.
Yeah.
The fact that it did not hit us and that we did not take damage as much as we could have is literally just crazy. Like, I've never been in the center of a tornado. Like, we got hit.
Yeah.
Like, we were in the exact place it happened.
But, like, it's just, God's hand was just, I mean, God's hand was on everyone. I mean, just because, you know, their house got hit doesn't mean God wasn't protecting them. Nobody, thank the Lord, from our community died.
Nobody got injured, or only one person got injured, I think.
One injury, and, you know, they were outside, and it was just...
and the house was still livable, apparently. Like, they're gonna have to rebuild, but... like they could still live in the house.
And there were some people that had total losses, people from our church. I'm gonna insert a clip from Good Morning America.
And in Arkansas, the National Guard deployed. This family's house gutted.
There's a silence that happens before a strong storm hits you. And I said out loud, oh no, this is not good.
The Drope family's home was destroyed as a tornado passed through Paragould, Arkansas. It was the second tornado to hit their neighborhood in less than a year.
You just thank God no one was injured or killed. You're just so thankful you're alive.
The arrow in this image pointing to where they took shelter during the tornado. Miraculously, that spot, the only part of their home still standing.
In that photo, it literally looks like God just had his hand right there over us, because that's the only part that has the roof left.
And honestly, that like, it's just incredible once you guys see this. Like, God truly just protected all of us so much, and we just are so grateful. You don't go through something like that and you think, oh, we're lucky to be alive. Like, no,
right.
Like God protected us.
Well,
and he
we
protected
are.
Everyone.
I mean, everyone's so lucky to be alive. Like those.
But it's not luck.
Like, well, it's not luck, but like you just think about it. Like in totality of all those tornadoes, I think like 40 something people died. Like,
yeah,
people who don't get to wake up tomorrow. That's sad. That's terrible. And so the fact that you almost feel guilty, you know, like you almost feel like how, like it's just such a miracle and a blessing that that didn't happen to us. And you almost feel guilty because it's like, but it did happen to them. So it's a miracle that we're alive and we thank God for it. But it's really, really hard to see everything happening. And it's not like the Lord was like, oh, these people, you know, I don't want to get to that. But what I do want to say is, like, we need to just pray for our community. Like, if you guys can pray for our community.
And the surrounding areas.
Pray for the surrounding areas, that people would rebuild, that people would just be covered with peace and love as they cherish memories they had with loved ones, you know, things that went wrong. Like, it's just, there's no perfect way to explain it. It's just a terrible situation.
Yeah, and just hopefully that this would be a wake-up call to people, you know, just to, like, cherish their loved ones, just put their faith in God. Like, nobody, I don't feel like you really process things like this, especially when you aren't saved, like, realizing the fragility of life. But I just pray that through this, people, like, come to know the Lord. And just like our friends got to share on Good Morning America, like, they were protected. The only part of their house that didn't get the roof blown off is where they took shelter. Like, that's not a coincidence. That is purely the hand of God protecting them.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been super crazy to see. And I think, you know, we're trying not to be, like, dramatic about it, but it is something that you just really can, like, it's just like a sobering situation.
It is, and we have a platform that we can share what has happened to our community in hopes that they can be impacted in a positive way through your prayers, through your support, through things like that. The reason we're making this video is because we were literally in a tornado. Mm-hmm. And we're not asking for anything other than for you guys to pray for our community, to pray for the people around us and the surrounding communities. Like, we have a platform to be able to share what's happened to us, but then also what's happened to other people, because other people went through so much more than we did. Yeah. And so that's why we want to be able to share this story, not only tell you what we went through as a couple with a newborn, literally not thinking this tornado would hit us, and it did, but then also sharing what has happened to hopefully get the story out there so that these families can rebuild, that they can heal, that they can move on with life after this terrible thing has happened.
Especially the people in our community that got hit twice within a year time period. Like, that's just I
can't imagine.
I mean, you hardly think of it happening to you once, but I'm sure I'd have the thought, there's no way it happened twice, and it does.
I would move.
Like, that's just, it's
like, that's crazy.
Unfortunate. But I think something too is, like, you hear about stuff like this all the time, but, you know, you don't get to talk to the people it happens to, or you don't maybe know the people if you live in a different state or something like that. So it's you know, you feel for them, but you don't really understand it until you either know someone who's gone through it or you go through it. And I just think it's, if anything, we can just, you know, help put, like, put it into perspective. Like, when these things happen, it's real people that are going through it. Like, members from our church completely lost their homes, and I could not imagine that. And so we just would love if you guys could be praying for our community. Like, I'm so thankful, you know, Judah was protected and he slept right through the storm.
Definitely the scariest thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, even though it wasn't as bad as it could have been, in that moment, you just kind of, every memory you've ever had just kind of, like, replays through your mind. It was scary. It was so scary. And it's just, it's wild. And we're definitely, we all talked about, like, with my mom afterwards, we're like, okay, we need to figure out, like, a storm shelter,
or go somewhere, or, like, whatever we're doing, because, you know, obviously the bathroom was the best place for us in that moment, but we're like, okay.
If we were in any of those other houses, that could have been bad.
No, and we're gonna
buy for real
helmets.
Like, it could have been bad if we were in that bathroom and it was any other house. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not exaggerating.
Well, our house, like, you just think about it, like, our house does not have any interior
It's so open.
Yeah, and so even, like, our laundry room is the only interior room, but it doesn't have a door, and our closet's an exterior room, and it's connected to our closet. So it's like, it really isn't an interior room, if that makes sense. But yeah, anyways, it was just kind of drawing this out, but we just wanted to update you guys with that. A lot of people have been praying over on our Instagram. We updated you guys, so thank you so much for praying. And people were asking, my parents' house is okay, thank the Lord. They just, you know, had to clean up some stuff. And actually, miraculously, their garage door is even working. So it's like,
might not replace it.
Like, it's just amazing. It's truly a testimony of God's faithfulness. And just his protection. And if it tells us anything, it's that he's not done with us and we still have work to do in this life. And it just makes us so much more grateful for the days that we have.
Right, and life's a vapor. Like, make the most of every single day with your friends, family members. Tell those people you love them. Like, I know it sounds dramatic, but you could be in one of these situations one day. And so it's just like, I want to do my due diligence to make sure like you guys know what it's like and not to take each day for granted.
Because you never know, no matter what when your last day on this earth
Right.
is, because it's all in God's hands anyway. And it proves to you that like your life is not in your hands and everything's so out of our control. But we're grateful that we know the one who is in control, and we don't have to worry about it because and that's what we were saying the whole time too when we knew the tornado was coming. We're like, yes, this is going to be a storm. Yes, it's scary, but God's in control. God has a plan. We're just going to trust him, and we're going to be okay. And we're just so grateful for that.
And we're glad that everybody else is okay too. Like that just, from our area specifically, obviously there's so many sad stories in the surrounding areas, but just thankful that, this area, there wasn't anybody who passed away, fortunately. So, anyways. All right. Well, we love you guys. We did get hit by a tornado, but we are okay. Thank you guys for your prayers. Please pray for our community, for healing, that they would continue to rebuild, and for the community surrounding. We're praying for you guys, and we truly hope you guys can heal and rebuild from this, as our community does as well.
And we'll put some links down below if you guys feel led to support the surrounding communities and just people affected by all these tornadoes. That's something that we're going to be doing, and just making sure that we're taking care of the people closest to us. So
Yeah. All right. Well, we love you guys, and we'll see you guys in the next one.